Beautiful. Welcome to December. It is the end of the year, and it has been a great year. 2022 has been fantastic for the community and for all the members that have really connected and grown. And talking about connection and growth, we are doing a follow-up today, right? It's a follow-up with Nichole Tucker of Tucker Academy. I'm excited because we absolutely love to share what's going on in business today and what's happening in business down the road, right? Seeing that growth and what made the difference, what took you from surviving to thriving. So for the community members that are joining us live, thank you, thank you, thank you. Obviously, these are open invitation. These are conversations. These are an opportunity to connect. So if you can join us live, definitely do so. You can learn, connect, and grow together. And then, of course, because we all have lives and we all have businesses, we're trying to do the tightrope, right? The balancing act. We do record these. We put them out so that you can listen to the recaps later, offer your comments, questions, and kudos in the comment section. So thank you to everybody else that is on here. And I am so excited for the upcoming year. So just remember, community first, guys. Thank you so much. Nichole, I'm so excited to have you here. We're going to have everybody on the call introduce themselves first so that everybody is aware that they're here and committed to you, and you can be aware of, their commitment as well so that we can feel more connected. I'll introduce myself first. My name's Adam, of course. We've been connected for a long time. I am your moderator today, and I have the amazing privilege of leading these conversations and these meetups with GoDaddy team. So I'm going to challenge others to show up in the meantime, and I'm going to turn this over to Elena with GoDaddy.
Yeah, hi, Nichole. It's nice to meet you. Like you said, I'm on Team GoDaddy. My manager is Rachel McCool, who's you'll probably see around in the group. She's super active. She couldn't make it today, but she is usually here. I work in community engagement, so hosting virtual events, popping in the LinkedIn group, engaging with all you guys, and in our GoDaddy community. So I am excited to get to know you and hear what you have to say today.
And my name is Jonathan Graziano. I'm also on the GoDaddy team, but work more in the social side of things, more on the engagement side of it. And I was so excited to see that we were going to get, getting another presentation from you, Nichole. I loved your last one, and I think the work you do is so powerful and so relevant, constantly relevant and very necessary. And I'm very excited to hear how your 2022 was and what plans you have for the next year.
Yeah, thank you to the GoDaddy team for always being present and supporting and giving us the space, right? The space to have these conversations so that we can really engage in meaningful discussion and dialogue on what's happening in small business. Nichole, your year has been astounding. You have been on a trajectory run. We met with your mentor, and I'll let you talk a little bit about her later, Lenita, just a couple of weeks ago, and she was just beaming about your success, the evolution of your business. And I'm excited to hear your update today because, like Jonathan said, your work that you're doing is powerful, it's meaningful, it's necessary. When we originally met, we were talking about empathy and teaching styles and learning styles and how we have to partner together, right? Parents, schools, advocates, teens, everybody's got to be part of that conversation. So your business isn't one that's, an easy business to step into, let alone scale it up. So why don't you share with us a little bit about where things have gone for you in 2022?
Okay. So, kind of back to the beginning was in 2020, it was actually the pandemic that led me to get out of the classroom and kind of give this a try. And so the last time that we talked, I was focusing mostly on tutoring, teaching. I was doing some public speaking, and I was really kind of just getting my feet wet. I had that eager desire to, that's it, I'm going to do this. I'm going to build a business. But it was hard. It was really hard. And I struggled a lot, and I learned a lot of lessons the hard way. I wasted a lot of money and a lot of time trying to grow and trying to get my cause out there. And I kind of just started to realize this is not very efficient. And so I started looking around. What am I going to do? I'm an educator. I'm not good at business. I don't know how to do this, but I have to do this. It was my passion. And so that's what I explored. And I decided to get myself a coach. And that changed my business. That changed my life because it really just changed my mindset.
I love that, because 2020 was a great awakening for so many people. People really took a look and took inventory on what was meaningful and available to them, right? Because when the carpet swept under you, from under you, you've got to kind of make some decisions. And business is very difficult. It is hard. And when you've made that transition from employee to employer or entrepreneur, depending on if you're alone or working with a team, that's a hard thing. And I really appreciate your vulnerability and the grace you've given yourself and sharing that it was difficult. And you knew for a fact that there were some things you didn't know, right? You're an educator, not an entrepreneur yet, right? You were in that throw of that journey, learning and growing through experience, but you went seeking somebody who had a little bit of perspective and understanding into what it would take to challenge your business and rise to the occasion. And you've done that. So talk to us a little bit about your mentor and the moments that really mattered to you in that connection.
So my mentor, Lenita, she runs Teen Coach Academy. And although I do some teen life coaching, it wasn't the focus of my business. My focus, my mission tagline is I wanted to bring empathy and equality into education. I wanted to really nurture the social emotional piece of students, help them grow through partnerships and helping them to just feel safe. And so I don't even remember how, to be honest, that I stumbled upon her specifically. I remember that it was like, it took maybe 2-3 times and I kept not showing up to it's kind of like a challenge, right? I think we started with a 5-day challenge. And it was one of those things I saw kind of just scrolling on Facebook, I guess, of, how to kind of level up, how to meet the needs of teens as a life coach for teens. And I was like, oh, this is interesting, because I saw that it addressed some of the business part, how to grow your business as a life coach. And even though that wasn't full-time what I was doing, it just something I kept coming back. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad that she did not give up on me. And that also really helped inspire me to know, when I connect with parents and I give a consult, they don't have to be ready right away to contract with me, to hire me. But it's really important to nurture those connections and still be there, because that's how I want to set myself apart. That was how I then was like, wow, this is how I need to be. This is what I got to do with everybody. I just want to teach. I want to spread my mission. I don't have to become good at business. Like, as far as, I don't need a business degree. Like, I don't have to revamp my credentials. I thought it was a good thing. Let me stay focused on my area, my wheelhouse. This is my expertise. So I partnered with her so that I could learn from somebody who did know that piece. And it absolutely was life-changing. But I couldn't have done it alone. And that was the big thing, was realizing I needed something. I needed somebody.
Yeah, that's a hard realization. You run a mission-driven business, which I think so many people end up in business because they have the bigger why, right? They've got a mission behind them. And at the end of the day, we all have mortgages to pay. We have bills that we have to take care of. And that's a responsibility that's not going to go away. But our mission and our need for why we got into business shouldn't go away either, right? So it's a delicate balance. And you found a mentor that is specifically driven to helping people in your niche. I think that's powerful, right? She had perspective and understanding in the business and the development, but she was more than that. She was a champion of your cause. She was camaraderie. She was challenging you. And, we were talking earlier today in the community on one of the posts that curiosity leads to authentic creativity, right? If you show up and you're curious, and your guard is down because you're in an environment that matters with people that understand your industry, you can really learn. And in that learning process, you discover so much more about yourself and so much more about your business, which Lenita has been just, talking about with you, Nichole, your evolution in business. You have grown to be somebody that's capable of not just reaching the souls of teens, right? And talking to them in a meaningful manner, but you're also scaling up your business to the availability to be a bigger impact, right? We want to be a bigger ripple effect. So I love that you found a mentor that does that for you. if there was a tip that you could give the community members on finding a mentor and maybe dialing down the noise to determine if they're the right fit, if they're the good people. We were talking about that before the call. What is that tip from your experience, your perspective?
My perspective is you have to follow your intuition. Much like, when I try to recruit new people because my business has expanded, and this was, we kind of mentioned a little, before we got started, there are certain things that you cannot train. You cannot train heart. So I wouldn't go out and I would not just look for somebody with a long list of skills and credentials. And I've been doing this for, all of these years, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you don't connect with me and jive with me, and we don't want the same thing on more of a heart level, you go nowhere. And so I think if you decide this is what I want, I need to partner with somebody, I need a mentor, you might go through a couple. I think you need to follow your intuition, not jump into anything too quickly. I did that in the beginning, and that's where I wasted a lot of money. At the end of the day, I needed to remember I'm bringing somebody into my life, and it's an investment. I'm not just investing in their company to build them. I need to help myself grow. And that's what happened in the beginning, because I didn't know anything about business. I spent thousands of dollars, which, comes from my family then. And so then you start to get that internal conflict of, well, I'm so passionate, I want to do this, but I also love my family, and I can't, do that to them. So I think partnering with somebody who can help you level up, who that's their niche, it's life-changing, completely life-changing. I just actually got an award from Lanita for cresting my $25,000. Since, we started, it hasn't even been a year, I don't know, maybe like 6-7 months, but just in the coaching niche. I do a lot of things in education, but just in coaching, she's helped me scale from 0 to my $25,000 award for cresting. And that is just so amazing, because I'm just continuing to do the things I love.
Yeah, proof of the pudding is valid. Congratulations, first of all, for reaching that goal. And it's a piece of your business. It's not the entire business, right? And you mentioned that. I love that, because in business, there's so much more going on than what meets, the eyes of those that we interact with on a daily basis. Yes, we've got to be known for something, but generally, if you're engaged in a meaningful relationship with your clients and your customers or mentors, right, you can offer more, you can become more, and that allows you to really celebrate the wins together. And I'm so happy that you touched on teaming up, because at the end of the day, there's only so much we can do, right? There's a quote that I've said it over and over this year is, I can't do all the good in the world, but the world needs all the good that I can do, right? And when you team up with somebody, the ripple effect, the good spreads a little bit further. And then beyond that, when you have those moments, those wins, you're celebrating with somebody that was in the trenches with you. And that's meaningful. That's meaningful to you, and it's meaningful to them. It's a quill in your cap, because you showed up and you overcame the obstacles of the challenge. And now you've grown and you can do it. So now you can repeat it. And the person that was there with you, your mentor, whoever they are, knows that they have validated their reason for being there, right? And that they can continue to do that. You guys are reciprocating, and I love that. So, congratulations on that growth, Nichole. And I think obviously there's more to come, right? We were talking on the call that you're kind of strategizing a little bit more for next year. I think you're going to be branching out and working with a school and maybe doing some work with the local superintendent. You want to talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, slow and steady, right? Slow and steady wins the race, because so I have, and it kind of circles to it, right? My way of speaking is just so rambly sometimes, but it leads somewhere. When I started, it was, oh, you must focus on one thing, get good at the one thing, and then you can branch, then you can do more. And I would encourage anybody who is trying to grow their business or trying to branch into, entrepreneurship, that no, I still think you follow your heart. Yes, you must be smart, but if you are partnered with somebody who can give you some of the guidance, you can do, just like you were saying, a portion of your business. And one portion of my business was, I do a lot of advocacy work for the kids in my local area. And I also do tutoring. And so what was happening was, all of a sudden, the students that I was tutoring, well, then their parents would bring me on as their advocate. And so now I started growing within. If I didn't share with people that I did more or that I was qualified to do more, and I just stuck with, I'm only tutoring, I would not have grown in that regard. And so now I've grown to the point where, hey, I worked with enough families. Now I'm going to get with, my local school district, and hey, I already have so many kids that I'm working with here. How can we partner? How can my company partner with your district that is now full of thousands? And it all started because, we have to work together, but we have to be able to dream big. So yeah, when I first started and I was working with somebody who was, just do one thing. You can't be doing all of these things. If I would have stuck with that mindset, I would not have grown.
Yeah, I think there's power in that, because you have the perspective now where you're at a point where you're celebrating your success. But I hope that everybody that's listening to this is kind of listening to the evolution, right? Nichole, you started in business on your own with a focus on something you were passionate about, and you did well there. But then you knew your heart wanted something more. You wanted to create a business, and you wanted to scale up a little bit so you can have a larger impact. So you opened up your curiosity. You found a mentor that had some perspectives that maybe you couldn't see, or some understanding in how to do business. So you went from being on your own to being with a mentor that really guided you. And then you took that guidance and you built teams around that. And now you've got systems that really do well for that one thing. And your business is scaling and growing and doing very, very well and running efficiently. And you know now that you can be curious again. You can kind of branch out and try different things and see where your heart leads you. And I think there's a lot of power in that, right? If you've got the team around you, whether it be a mentor or people that support you and employees, or even people that are in the same industry, right? Sharing information across channels, they're not necessarily competitors. They're more of like awareness partners. They're accountability partners. They share with what's going on. Those moments allow you to explore that curiosity through your heart. And then you can grow into new segments in your business and discover this evolution, this ability to scale. Everybody thinks of the word scaling as like opening up a social media company and suddenly becoming a billionaire 2 years later, right? Or founding some crazy math-driven app online or whatever. But it's more than that. Scaling is the impact. It's the ability to reach into the hearts and souls of the people that you impact and have a business around that pays you for doing that. And the people that are celebrating with you or your team, there's camaraderie. I love what you've built there. I mean, I know it sounds simple, this 1-2 punch that we're talking about, but really it is. It's starting with what you love, finding the right team, and driving yourself forward. And I love that that's where your success is led. So talk to us a little bit about duplication. You're moving forward into the new year. Obviously, Lanita has this environment where there are others just like you. Do you see yourself as a coaching partner, an accountability partner for parents, duplicating your business in a meaningful way that you think might scale it even further?
Absolutely. And it's someplace that I'm headed, and I'm sticking with slow and steady. Nothing worse than jumping in, and when you have to backtrack, right? You have all that lost time. But yes, I have learned that I can't duplicate myself, unfortunately. And so when I look for my team members, I know what I'm looking for. And I'm now involved with TCA, where I'm able to really encourage other people. And, when I started on this journey, well, now there are other people that are at that same place when they're starting on their journey. Learn from my mistakes, let me help just cheer you along as I'm still learning at the same time from Lanita, who's even farther along. And so I'm helping other people grow and them duplicate while I'm still doing the same. And again, while then me doing that, is doing the same for Lanita. And it's just so imperative. So one thing that she really taught me, one thing that helped me finally get this going, was she helped me change my mindset that money is not bad. Money is not necessarily the root of all evil as we often think of it. I think that more so that's just greed, right? Money can be a very good thing because through money, we can reach people. So when you have a passion, you need that. You need it to sustain yourself and to sustain others. And little things that I was suddenly blessed to be able to do, like, I could make sure that every one of my families got, like, a little something special from me, at dates that were special to them, a birthday, the holidays. Those things matter. They matter. And if you think about, well, who makes me feel a certain way, right? Like if you go to the doctor's office, or you go to the dentist or someplace, it always feels more personal if they connect you with by first name. If they look at you in your eyes, if they send you that little birthday card, those things do matter. And that's been a big part of my business that has kept me feeling connected with everybody, so that when I start as a tutor and then they need advocacy, they remember me, they come back to me. Because there is the sales piece of, I think it takes an average of like 8 or something like that, touch points where you have to be exposed to people. And that's all this stuff I don't know anything about. But I learn a little. But you have to pour yourself. As the business owner, you must pour yourself into the relationships. If you pour yourself into trying to make the money will stop because the business won't keep growing. You have to pour yourself into the business piece. And when it's meant to be, that the stuff falls into place. So mindset is huge. Money is not bad. Money is good. And that's how we really get out there.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that you touched on that. First of all, usually the words money is the root of all evil is missing a precursor word, right? It's the love of money is the root of all evil. If you obsess over money, you have no real reason for being in business. And honestly, people can generally see through it, right? There's a transparency there. Either that or you turn green and they can notice that. But you touched on moments that matter. Really in business, that is what facilitates growth and the ripple effect on your brand and your identity and people knowing who you are. They don't go around saying, hey, I bought this really cool module, or I went through this awesome program and we did XYZ. They share about their life and what's changed. And then they say, oh, it's because I did this with Nichole. Oh, it's because this amazing lady taught me how to talk to my teenagers. Like, these are moments that matter. And then you went a step further and you sent them just meaningful little things, reminders that they are people. There's humanity, right? They are people. And I like that. I think there's power in that. And I think you're going to see the duplication kind of transform your business over the next coming years. One of the things I was first taught in business was the best way through a minefield is following somebody who's already been through it, right? We don't want to make the same mistakes. So you have perspective now and you're helping others by contributing. You've got advocacy programs going on, but that's because you're giving back, because others did that for you. And it's going to pay back. It's going to pay back tenfold. And those are the reasons that really keep people in business. And the last point I want to mention, I know Jonathan had his hand up, is you mentioned that money matters in business. Well, it does. One of the first things you said in this call was when you started in business, you had to make decisions knowing that you were taking money out of the pocket of your family. That's how it is for entrepreneurs, right? We have family, whether that be close friends or people that live in the same household of us. Those experiences are going to have to be sacrificed sometimes to make decisions. And if money is tight, you can't have the courage and confidence to make the decisions that matter in the moments that matter, and then you can't grow. So knowing how to make money in business is a powerful thing. And I think that there's a lot of respect that needs to go around that. And Nichole, I appreciate you for talking on that, because it's not talked about enough. So thank you for doing that. And obviously you bring a value to your clients. You should get paid for that value. Continue doing what you're doing. And I'm going to shut up and turn it over to Jonathan.
I just wanted to, I had to jump in because I think it's always so, money is always so weird to talk about. Money is just gross to talk about. Everyone needs it, everyone uses it, everyone seeks it to a degree, but it's so gross to talk about. And I think we've gotten into a place, at least I think it's, I've seen so many articles and things about pay transparency, and I think we're finally getting into a little bit of a place where it's just become a little less stigmatized to talk about it, to talk about how, it is to, Adam, to your point, it's like, do you want it for the sake of having it, or do you want it because you want to provide value to people you love, or you want to take care of yourself, take care of your house? And I always think of, especially when it comes to launching a business or launching something where money happens to come along with it. Money is a resource. It's quite simply, it's nothing more than a resource. Human connections are resources, right? Building a legacy with people who you've worked with and people who you're learning from, building relationships, that is a resource. Those people are resources to you. So I always think it's so important to go into something. I always try and think, whenever I launch a project, or, if something's going on with Noodle and we're doing a new thing, I'm very happy to make money if that comes along. But the goal, it has to be to acquire resources. And those resources could be, I want to make connections with people. That's it. That could be the only thing that I want out of that, is the resources. I know that I have an audience of people. I have clients. I have, students who have been able to take value away from me. That is the mindset that I think it's such a healthy way to look at, that intention of making money. Is this is a resource that I need, and I can use it for good or for evil. But having that sort of changing that identity around it and acknowledging, Nichole, it was you who said it, like, you can do these things that matter. They don't have to be huge things. I do not have to buy an $80,000 car for anyone, or, get people to sign up for my MLM and, just make money at all, all in anything goes. It's recognizing what you want and building your way towards it, and being able to provide value to people along the way, whether it's through services or through things that may cost something. And I love that we're talking about this, and I love that you brought that up, because I think a lot of people listening to this may have a relationship with money like I do, where it is something where you're like, we recognize the value of it, but I never like talking about it. I never like thinking about it. It's the one thing that stresses me out more than anything in the world. And to be able to just have that very transparent, sort of easy discussion about it, I think is so important for anyone in any place of their business. Is that can never be the ultimate. That can be something that you want to acquire, but it cannot be your reason to be, right? It cannot be the reason why you're doing the thing. That cannot be the primary reason, because everyone will see that. They will see that is what you are trying to get from them, which will overcome any value you are trying to provide them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, business is funny. We have the ability to make businesses thrive and survive. We have the ability to raise up communities and offer people living wages. And we talk about that a lot, but really at the end of the day, the reason we're in business is what drives those effects. If you are in business and it's transactional, well, your business is going to stay small. It is going to stay exactly where it began. And yeah, you can make a living doing that, but you're never really going to be present. You're not going to be available to grow yourself and the people around you. And if you want to have an impact, you've got to be aware that transactional and transitional are two different things. If you take that money-making mentality to transitional, well, now this money has a purpose. It's got the ability to impact 100 more families. I can hire another person, help them pay their living wage. We are in an ecosystem where everything supports one another. I mean, you guys remember in 2020, there was a petition signed by the Fortune 500 to open back up small business because of just how impactful that was. I mean, legitimately, the ability to survive in an economy depends on the ability to make a living, yes. The ability to survive in your community depends on your ability to live by that living. And I think there's power in that. I think what you are doing, Nichole, is an example of that. And obviously we've seen that over the course of the last 2 years. Your business went from you starting on your own and kind of feeling alone to growing and scaling to a point now where you yourself are evolving into a mentor. You're evolving into this business identity and this example that you can thrive and scale up in a business that's very specific and very niche to something that's almost difficult for most of us to talk about. So thank you for that. Thank you for being that example and for sharing your story. Obviously, we've had to have some vulnerabilities shared along the way. And I really appreciate you for doing that, because you can tell you're authentic and that you're showing up and being meaningful, not only in your journey, but in your reasons for this. You didn't have to show up on this interview today, right? You didn't have to share with our community. This isn't a bragging session. It's a how-to. It's what worked for me, because it might work for you. And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, really, when we talked last, I was excited. They were going all right. And I had goals, but I was kind of on a hamster wheel. I mean, where was I headed? I just was headed someplace that my heart wanted to be. And that is important. There's so much value in that. But we need our hearts and our minds to connect. And I didn't know what to do to make that keep going. And there reached a point where, there was a lot of tears, and there was a long conversation with my husband, and am I going to be able to really do this and whatnot? And yeah, I mean, you have to be prepared for all of that. And at the end of the day, yeah, I feel that I have grown because my mindset changed. I was extremely, I don't care about the money. I would do this for free. I love what I do. And it's true, but I would not be to the point where I'm ready to launch my own school next year. I have, tutors under me that I've been able to hire. And yeah, now I get to provide for them, and I pour into them and invest in them and give them the best rate that I can, because I know that it matters. And I know I want quality over quantity, good people. And that is how I think we can start to make a difference, not just in what we want to do, but the trajectory really of just, yeah, I mean, society, right? We do better, we help somebody else do better. That's how we start a movement. And it really did for me. All came back to, I started, I'm like, I know I'm an educator, and I want to make a difference. I'm going to do what I do. I don't need to make any money. I don't care about the money. And I'm still very bad about it, mind you. I am. But I feel like, you know what? It's okay. It works itself out. And the biggest example I have for that is I was working with a family, and one of the parents lost their job, and I let them get $3,000 behind in what they owed. That is an exorbitant amount of money. But what happened was, I didn't want that child to have to feel the impact of a job loss. I was sole teacher. They were homeschooled. I was the teacher. I was their education. How can I, who's out there trying to make a difference, how can I take that away? Right? I'm the school, the teacher, the guidance counselor, the principal, the everything. And if I want to build this, I got to stick it out. So that's where it was like, yes, money matters, but it's not always the money that you're receiving. Sometimes it could be the money that you're sacrificing. That's how we grow.
That's amazing. Adam, I know you were going to say the exact same thing. I beat you to it. That is such a miraculous way to go about looking at any business. And I can't help but think of a lot of the entrepreneurs and small business owners that we've worked with in the past year, and people that we've spoken to on this same community meetup, is the people who are, I mean, success means something different to everyone, but to know that you are establishing, like, nothing establishes you as a leader or authority in the space, like being able to provide a service when one thing, like super important thing like money, it was never taken off the table, right? It was never something that says, well, I'm going to now do this for free in perpetuity. but with the nature of your work as the educator, recognizing that there are some lessons that a child does not need to learn this young is such a testament to you and such a testament to the real spine of the business that you built. And we have, it will be years and years and years before we know the real impact of that sacrifice that you made, of those services you provided. But even knowing that their education was not disrupted because such a disruption occurred, is amazing. My mother is a teacher. So I get actually quite emotional when I think about stuff like this, because it really is, having that, being able to offer that stability, whether it's teaching, or it's, automotive repair, or you work with, financial consulting. When you're able to really make those connections with people and really, base your business in a place of service. And, to your point about, everyone needs to be good with money, but some of us just want to do the work. We want to do the work. We want to help the people. We want to do the thing. It really does. It says so much about you, and the people that you're teaching, right, are learning that from you. And that alone is such talking about money, you can't put a price on that. You can't.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely. I mean, I love the way that you said that. And that same family, they made good on their word.
They won the lottery and they gave me half.
Well, hopefully they'll remember me if that happens. Like that, as soon as the parent got a job again. And what was the crazy part was they didn't ask me that. I offered that to them. Which was an uncomfortable conversation, but it's one that my husband and I have been there, and I sure wish somebody could have said something like that to me. And it didn't happen. And again, it didn't mean that I was spending thousands of dollars. It meant I was sacrificing. But isn't that what we're getting into business for as an entrepreneur? We're not looking to grow somebody else. We're looking to grow ourselves and our own mission. And we have to weigh those things. So, sometimes in business, it can't be one of those cut dry, somebody's falling behind on their bill. I'm sorry, you're going to have to go. We can't continue with your services. You have to look at every single situation for what it is. And that's where I think we have to remain authentic in business. That's what leads to our growth. That family still works with me, right? Like, that's the stuff I think that kind of keeps the world go round. People remember that. They just remember when they're valued. And I feel like since the last time we talked, that the authenticity piece, and my desire to spread empathy and mental health awareness and all that, I still want that, but I'm just trying to show up more now in action and in deed than I am in spreading the word, because I spent time to spread the word. I started to get an audience. I have them. Now I need to live up to that. I'm, change my mindset by finding a coach and knowing I can't do it all alone. And things just continue to grow and unfold. And it really did come just down to a lot of limiting beliefs that I had going on, and also not taking the advice of some other people and learning the hard way.
Yeah, your actions are obviously speaking so loud that the words really don't matter, because you're out there making this difference, and you are an example. You're a hailstorm an example, right? You are literally raising up the expectations of those around you, and I love that you experienced an availability to pay it forward, right? It's a delicate balance to know if somebody's abusing the system or taking advantage, but if you're in the right mindset, where you have done the right things and business is making enough money, one of the most powerful things you'll ever get in business is options, right? The ability to have an option to make whatever decision matters to you in your heart for your mission-driven, your heart-driven legacy. That in your business is your legacy. It's your identity. It's everything. And so many of us entwine that in our lives. So kudos to you for knowing, right, that you had the power and the perspective to make that decision and help those people. and not feel guilty about it, because business came back full circle. You paid it forward. And it all comes down to that mindset, knowing that you're not alone, right? So thank you so much for sharing that. I think you've got a powerful business plan ahead of you. I'm excited for when you launch your own school and hearing all about that. I think it's going to be a whirlwind of success. But one thing we have to remind ourselves of is what Nichole shared today is slow and steady, right? Having that mindset and understanding that you have to make the decisions in the now that matter, but allow yourself to evolve in business. Find those team members, find those mentors, grow yourself, grow your identity, and success will come. I mean, really, that's beautiful. So thank you, Nichole, for sharing that today.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kudos to you. And we always open it up at the end. So Elaine and Jonathan, thank you guys for being on today. Any last minute comments or questions for Nichole?
I'll just jump in to say I'm so excited for you to open your school next year. That's huge. That's so exciting. I cannot wait to hear more about that. And just thank you so much for your time today and your wisdom. And you had a lot of great things to say, and I really, really appreciate it. And I loved all the personal stories, like that particular kid and your mentor, and that just all is very special. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me and spending some time with me.
Of course.
So much of what you said all tied in together, talking about how your mentor teaches you, and then you take those learnings and you teach others what you've learned, but you help everyone along the way. And that same idea of, I was able to help these people financially when they needed it. I wish that loop had been available for us. And that idea that you are filling that gap, you're acknowledging that gap exists, and you're building that. I have a big metaphor in my head. You're building that chain out. My question, aside from that, we simply must have you back to talk about the school. You're going to be very busy in 2023, but we are very, very keen to know more about how that goes. I'm not big on resolutions because I think I always find that a little too rigid, but I'm very curious to know, with all of the plans you do have for 2023, what is a thing about this is only because my therapist asked me this yesterday, so I'm passing this forward. What is something about yourself in 2023 that you hope to double down on? What is something you want to get better at? What is something about yourself you want to temper? What is something in 2023 that you're really keen to grow on?
That's a great question. What I'm really, really wanting to do is I want to focus on writing some things down, keeping track of some things. I'm really big on, I'm going to do a journal, or I'm going to do a diary. And oh my gosh, I get a month in, a couple weeks in, that doesn't actually happen. But what I can do is I can just take a couple notes and just have a notebook dedicated, or, even something on my phone. What I want to do is January, beginning of the month. You know what? This is what I'm hoping might happen. And at the end of the month, did it happen? Did it not? Did I learn anything? Right. And if I can just do that, I think each month, right. And really, so, okay, 24 times to take even a minute. I think that's going to really help my perspective, because me as a person, I'm just almost aloof, just a little bit whiffy. I'm just, I just go with the flow. I'm a real person. I'm don't have that very professional persona about me. I'm just very real. And so it's something that I learned there is a lot of value in setting goals. But we have to pay attention to, okay, are we getting anywhere with them? Are we throwing bad money at them and time and wasting our resources? And then the goal's never going to come. So that's something that I really want to do, is start tracking just my focus, my level of focus, I think.
That was such a good question.
Such a good answer.
Yeah, I think this has been amazing. I love that we recapped the year, by the way, Nichole, with your success, because we're entering this season of being grateful and understanding what we have, and at the same time not trying to convolute the whole journey with what's going to happen next year, right? And that was a great question, Jonathan, because at the end of the day, if we write things down and document the process, yeah, it's good for us and good for our soul, but it'll probably be good for others later when we want to share it, so we can be aware of what really took place. And what you've done today, sharing and updating us on your next steps, that's exciting. I think that 2023 is going to be a crazy year, obviously, whichever way you want to take that. But I think it's going to be positive for those that show up and they're aware and they realize this is an ecosystem and there are people that are here willing to help each other and willing to show up. Duplication, we talked about that today. You're paying it forward with your actions and what you've done. And when people see that, even if they're not the ones that were directly involved in it, they're going to want to respond in kind. They're going to want to align, because that positive energy drives and thrives together, right? So that's how the community grows. That's how we all grow together. Thank you so much for sharing with us today, and just for being our final recap for the year, and really putting a bow on the top of it all. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was really exciting. It really, really was. And it, you know, when we talk about investment of time, like, this community helped me grow as a person, as a like, trying to break into the world of being an entrepreneur, and listening to these sessions and hearing other interviews. I mean, this was what I needed. It's the real life value. Like, the whole, I didn't need to go to business school to learn a whole brand new thing. No, I needed connection and collaboration, and you guys have provided so much of that for me. So thank you. This was really exciting, and I hope we can keep in touch and do another update next year, and we'll see, you know, where it keeps going. But I really want to make sure that, you know, I let people know, anybody who listens to this, you know, later, that this time that I'm spending with you guys is a huge investment for me, and it has a very large return on the investment, because this is the stuff that matters in business, and this is how we can help each other. So thank you for offering this platform.
Oh my goodness, that means so much to all of us. Thank you so much, Nichole.
Somewhere in the world, Rachel just got a chill down her spine.
Yeah, did anybody write that down?
Yeah, I know. She was totally gonna watch this. She obviously sent a regard. She wanted to be here today, but I think she's traveling. I'm not quite sure, but it means it's our singular intention. Literally our singular intention with these meetups and this group is to somehow, some way, find a way to provide value to people as they work to build out their businesses. And it really does mean so much to hear that. We're so grateful to have you a part of this community. We really, really, really cannot wait to see what you do next. That's my dog screaming in the background.
Yes, thank you so much, Nichole. I appreciate you, and Elena and Jonathan, I appreciate you too for being here and being present. And to all the community members that are going to listen to this later, join the experience. I mean, this is what it's all about: connection and collaboration. So.